Hi, welcome to another project for Made by Marley Week. We really hope you enjoy this one and tune in tomorrow for more projects.
Okay, so you've already seen one project that I've done with the Springtide custom set of 12 papers. Now I'm going to show you for the small crafters, and for those that want to do smaller projects, I'm going to show you quickly how to make a super simple sign. So you can use a frame for this. I just looked at a frame, but I thought, no, I wanted that appearance of it kind of being more like a board, like a kind of advert board. So I've got a piece of, I think it's MDF, Martin, is it? A piece of MDF, which I've painted duck egg blue from Annie Sloan chalk paint. And yesterday I fussy cut out my rabbit. And today what I'm going to do is I want to put typography up here, so I don't want to go bananas, but I just want I did a couple of the tulips, and there's so much to choose from in this sort of design that you can really, I think what I'll do is I'll glue my bunny on first. So let me just get a suitable brush. There we go. Move these off the way. Don't know what that was. And I am just going to cover my board. Now this is a new Mod Podge, so I shouldn't have the lumpy pumpy parts. Now, I think what I intend to do first is to put my Mod Podge on first onto the area and then concentrate on how to smooth it out once I've done that much. Make sure you've got plenty on for the size of where you're going. Now I'm going to start smoothing it out, making sure that I normally kind of go up one way, but that leaves ridges that can, you know, leave ridges in your decoupage paper. So once I've done it up one way, then what I do is I kind of feather it across where I'm not pushing hard into them, because that kind of gets rid of those sort of ridges that I've put in. So this is the kind of drill that I do. I mean, I'm sure you all have your own way of dealing with it. Now, I think we're pretty good at that. Bring my buddy, stick him down here to the edge. From the centre, sweep out and down to the bottom. And I'm just going to use a little bit of kitchen roll to just make sure that he's completely smooth. Same rules as normal. If there's no wrinkles now, then just leave him alone. Right, so he's on. I'll just carry on. Hair stuck to my glue. I'm just going to carry on with the glue. Right, I don't know what's stuck to my brush. I'm just going to carry on with my glue up these sides. I'm going to put some typography up here, so I'm going to keep that bit of a gap. And this is really quick. I mean, you can make one of these in a few hours. I mean, I don't intend to take a few hours over this, and it'll look okay when it's done. So, you know, not everything has to take days on end. Sometimes you just want to do a nice project, or sometimes you want to change out your decor in your house and you want to do it relatively quickly. I'm a bit like that. I think, oh, I need something there, right? I'm just going to go and do that quickly. Right, smoothed. Here we go. Actually, that there could do with a little bit of my smoothing. So I'm going to put these big sort of tulips here, centre out. You can see there's not a bit of glue there. Just make sure you've got plenty of glue. You don't want any left. If you do have left, you can come back and correct it. Right, okay. And now I want to build up my eggs, so maybe one here. And I'm going to be putting some of them off of the page. So here, I'm going to need some glue over this part here. Smooth that out a bit. And I think here, just making sure that I've got glue right up to this edge. And really at this part, you're just putting together something that pleases you. That's all you're doing at the moment. Yeah, it's what pleases you. And there's so many eggs. I mean, I was thinking you could make really nice Easter bunting with the eggs. You can put them on vases, you can make pots. There's a lot of scope with it. So, you know, making sure I've got no left. I think I'm going to position this nice tulip here. And just when you're fussy cutting, just put something good on TV. Just sit in front of the telly, put a bit of plastic bag on your knee just to catch all your little pieces that you fussy cut, and just fussy cut while you're doing something, while you're watching some telly at night, so that all your fussy cut pieces are ready, and it means that you don't have to do them at time, and it makes for quite a quick project if you've done it at a different time.
You with a good audiobook.
An audiobook, yeah, definitely. Here, I want to have some coming on here. And I mean, you could just go egg crazy now at this point. I don't want to waste too much of this egg, so I'm just going to cut this one in half so that I'm not... I think I might do something like that. And like this. And still got plenty of glue here. Let's just glue him on here. Make sure you've got glue where you haven't got paper. Just making sure that it's all glued down nice. Now, I'm being silly now because I'm coming back and rubbing that, and I know it was fine, so just don't do it. How many is too many eggs? Well, I don't think there's such a thing. Let's put this other half down here. Now, I'm going to go away, finish gluing it on. I'm going to pretty much kind of leave a space here for my typography. Now, I know it's a rabbit, but I'm going to make him a hare for the sake of my typography. But I'll come back with a stencil and I'll show you what I'm going to do next in a minute. Okay, so what I've done is I've sanded it. I used a very light, I think this is 800 grit, to fade it, to distress it all back, to give it that faded worn area. I want it to look older. So I've done that, and I used a heavier grit just to really kind of dig into the edges and get all that loose paper off. So that's how it looks so far. Okay, what are we going to do next? Now, next what I'm going to do is I am going to just dip my paintbrush in some water here, and I've got some greens, some sagey sort of greens too, and a bright green, which is the furrow, which is this colour here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hand paint just a few leaves in the background. So something like, let's start over here. Just kind of give it some movement. Now you can use a stencil at this point if you want, but just some leaves. I think I might put a darker green on this as well, just to kind of give it some. You don't need loads of it. I'm going to dip in the olive colour and just give those a little bit of something like that. I'm not going to do loads of it, but I'll do the rest of that off camera so that you're not hanging about. Just kind of gives it a little bit of extra something, fills in some of your gaps if you think, and maybe, I mean, you want to put on the background, you want to have some green, something like that, just to kind of frame them out a little bit as well. Now you can sand this as well if you want to, if you're going with that sort of vibe. If you're not, well, you don't have to bother. Right.
Excuse me.
Okay, so something like that, I think, would be quite nice. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I've got some stencils here. It's just some old ones that I had, and I'm going to go away and I'm going to put my typography, and I want the word the first. I'll just show you one later. Now, what I'm doing this with today is I'm doing it with brown acrylic. I'm not doing it with black or ink. So when you're stenciling anything, just a little bit of paint on some cardboard, because that way you can offload it. I've got a stencil brush, and just making sure I've got plenty on my stencil, but not too much, and it's been offloaded. So I'm just going to randomly put I don't want it too dark, but also I didn't want it black. I thought that would darken up the sign too much. So I'm going to stencil my words onto here. Next, by then the green will be dry, and then we'll come back, we'll distress the edge, and we'll get it sealed up and finished. Okay, so in this pot here, I've got a little bit of Liquitex medium, and I've just added some brown alcohol ink and some yellow. I'm trying to make it, when I put this over the top of this, that it's kind of like a little bit sepia looking. So I'm just going to add a little bit more brown, and I'm just going to add a little bit more Liquitex, just so I've got enough to cover the whole thing. Before I do that, I'm just going to get the distressed oxide, and I'm just going to rub it and kind of like round my edges, around like this. And that just finishes off those bare edges like that. You can touch in here and there on the, you don't want that. You don't want it looking like it's, the good thing about the distress oxides is if you don't like it, you can just add a little bit of water and it'll just wipe away. Now, I think I'm pretty happy with that. And now this is the mix. Now, there's a sort of trial and error process, I would imagine, on this. Let's just try a bit first. Yeah, I think that's going to be quite nice. So let's just go for it with a decent sized brush. So this is just sealing it and aging it all at once. That's what this will do. We can add a little bit darker at the end. Let's just get this coat on first. I just wanted that sort of kind of almost sort of a sepia image. I think in my head I knew what I was looking for. We'll see if I can pull it off. Just kind of ages it up a little bit. Now, when I did my stencils, I filled in all the gaps in the lettering so they were solid. But if you want a more sort of kind of like, you know, kind of different looking thing, you don't need to. You can just keep them the way they are. Right, now, I'm thinking I just want to put some little bit of darker here and there with some on his face. Now I'm just going to mix a little bit heavier with a little bit more yellow and a little bit more brown. Oh, that was quite a lot brown. And just a little bit of this. This will be very dark around the edges, so you have to kind of use with caution, I would imagine. And that should just age up your edges a little bit. Sorry, I'm jumping around, Martin. That just makes it look like it's been discoloured at the edges. You can see how versatile the decoupage paper is. You can sand parts off to age it. You can put paint over the top of it. You can scrunch it if you want to make it look older. I mean, it's really kind of, you can do loads of different things.
You can chuck it in a bucket of water and scrunch it all up and make it deliberately wrinkled.
You can, yeah. There now.
It's very robust.
It is. Now, once I've done all this and I've let this dry, it shouldn't take long to dry. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my black stays on, just run it round the coppery sort of distressed oxide, because this is rusty hinge, this colour, and I want it a little bit darker. But apart from that, if you've got anything left over in your sort of glaze that you've made, just age it up. Just, you know, there. Imagine an old billboard, an old sign that's been left and it's faded through time, and then it's got that sort of dark edge to it. That's pretty much what I'm going to do with it. I'm just going to dry this off, put my stays on round the edges, and that's the sign done. But there's so many different things you can do with the Springtide papers, because there's so many different elements in it. I was thinking of making with my set an Easter egg hunt for my grandchildren, and getting the Easter eggs, cutting them out, mounting them onto cardboard and putting a number on them to mark where the Easter egg hunt's going to be, with the Easter egg hunt sign that's in the pack. So it's quite versatile. So I'll get on and I'll dry this. Okay, so it's finished. These sorts of projects are so simple but so effective to do, and to be honest with you, the hard work's all done for you. You just need to fussy cut them out. Think about your positioning, distress if you want, and then a little bit of sanding, or maybe you've got your own ideas of what you would like to do with some of the papers from the Springtide collection. It is quite versatile. It's got loads of different things in it, and here's what I made in, wow, about, how long would you say, Martin? About an hour?
An hour?
Yeah, an hour's project.